On the fateful day of August 2nd, 2015, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office was inundated with a barrage of urgent 911 calls, each detailing a singularly horrific occurrence. The perpetrator of this dreadful act was revealed to be Michael Slager, a 41-year-old man, while the victim enduring this unimaginable ordeal was his 31-year-old girlfriend, Judy Malinowski. Yet, the unfolding years would give rise to an extraordinary narrative, as Judy defied all expectations to become the first individual in history to provide testimony in her own homicide case. What were the deeper motivations that led to this tragic event, and how did this case irrevocably alter the legal framework? Judith Ann Hensel, known to the world as Judy Malinowski, graced the earth on August 26, 1982, in Columbus, Ohio, born to the loving embrace of Bonnie and Thomas Hensel. As the cherished firstborn, Judy was a beacon of hope for her parents, arriving after a series of heartfelt attempts. Throughout her formative years, she blossomed into her mother's dearest confidant. Beyond her role as a devoted daughter, Judy also embraced the responsibilities of a nurturing elder sister to her younger siblings. She completed her secondary education at New Albany High School, graduating in 2001, where her charm and grace earned her the titles of Miss New Albany and Homecoming Queen. Following her high school achievements, Judy embarked on her collegiate journey at Ohio State University, where her magnetic personality shone brightly. However, her life took a tumultuous turn when she faced a diagnosis of ovarian cancer at a tender age, a battle she valiantly overcame. A free spirit at heart, Judy participated in numerous beauty pageants, yet she yearned for a life of simplicity, a dream she nearly realized. At just 22, she entered into matrimony with Ron Malinowski, and while the details of their union remained somewhat elusive, their family soon flourished. In March 2004, she celebrated the arrival of her first daughter, Kay Malinowski, followed by the birth of another daughter, Madison Malinowski, in September 2007, deepening her love for her children. However, the tides of life shifted dramatically when Judy discovered her husband's infidelity, leading to their separation at the close of 2007. This tumultuous period coincided with the return of her cancer, necessitating a total hysterectomy. Yet, with unwavering resilience, Judy once again emerged victorious in her battle against cancer. Nevertheless, her journey was far from over, as further challenges awaited her. In the late 2000s, America experienced a dramatic increase in the prescription of opioid medications, resulting in numerous tales of addiction. Among those affected was Judy. As she navigated her recovery journey, she found herself developing a reliance on painkillers. Despite the unwavering support from her family, her circumstances continued to worsen. When her insurance ceased to cover her medications, she sought solace in illicit substances, particularly heroin. The consequences were dire, her health deteriorated, and her relationships with her family and daughters suffered immensely. However, as time passed, Judy recognized that her reckless decisions were having a profound effect on her daughters. This realization propelled her to take a crucial step by enrolling in the esteemed Parkside Rehab Center in Ohio. In a remarkably short time, she achieved sobriety, secured her own apartment, and stabilized her finances. Life was finally beginning to smile upon this young mother. In 2014, through the realm of social media, Judy reconnected with Michael Slager, an acquaintance from her ex-husband's social circle. Known as Mike to many, he reached out to Judy via a Facebook message, confessing that he had harbored feelings for her but had refrained from expressing them during her marriage. Their connection blossomed into a romantic relationship by April 2015. Initially, Judy's mother, Bonnie, voiced her disapproval of their union, expressing concerns about the safety of Judy's daughters around Michael. Regrettably, neither Judy nor her family were aware of Michael Slager's troubling criminal history at that time, which included charges of theft, battery, stalking, domestic violence, burglary, assault, and even child endangerment. He was a perilous individual, and it wasn't long before his true nature emerged. Just a few months into their relationship, Michael began exhibiting possessive and abusive behavior. In her struggle to cope, Judy found herself slipping back into the clutches of drug use. In a startling turn of events, it was Michael who now supplied Judy with drugs, despite his own abstinence from their use. Her family suspected this was a calculated move by Michael to assert dominance over her. As long as Judy remained dependent on drugs, she would inevitably return to him, ensnared in a relentless cycle of addiction. There were moments when Michael's aggression escalated to the point of choking Judy, instilling a deep-seated fear for her life. She confided in her loved ones, expressing her genuine dread that Michael might end her life should she attempt to escape. He even went so far as to manipulate Judy's mother against her. Michael's abuse was not limited to physical violence. He regularly issued threats against her life. The situation deteriorated to such an extent that law enforcement had to intervene on numerous occasions. While Michael frequently initiated these calls, there were instances when Judy herself reached out for help. Yet, despite nearly a dozen reports of domestic violence at their residence, no legal action was ever taken. Judy made several attempts to sever ties with Michael, reflecting the all-too-familiar struggle of abuse victims trying to break free. Unfortunately, she found herself repeatedly drawn back to him. Judy's mother had warned Michael to stay away from her daughter, yet he persisted in residing in her home. Even when Judy sought help from the authorities, her past with drugs seemed to undermine her credibility. Tragically, Michael capitalized on this weakness, asserting that the police were aligned with him. This was yet another manipulation, a strategy to tighten his grip on Judy. For her, the only feasible escape from both the drugs and Michael lay in rehabilitation. Ultimately, in August 2015, Judy was accepted into a drug rehab program, and Parkside Rehab notified her of an available bed. Michael offered to drive her there, leading to the fateful day of Sunday, August 2, 2015, when he transported Judy to the rehabilitation center. Yet, Judy found herself unprepared to embark on her rehabilitation journey just yet. She yearned for a moment of connection with her family, to articulate her circumstances, and to share a final heartfelt exchange with her children before entering the rehab facility. Additionally, she planned to procure cigarettes prior to her arrival, as smoking was permitted within the center's confines. Consequently, they chose to momentarily leave the facility, intending to return later. During their return, they paused at the Speedway gas station located at 376 Alger Road in Gahanna, Ohio. This detour also provided Judy with a respite from the ongoing dispute with Michael that had marred their journey. Unbeknownst to her, her life was teetering on the brink of a catastrophic event. Surveillance cameras positioned at 2 nearby ATMs recorded the moment Judy and Michael's truck halted behind the gas station. The couple was embroiled in a fierce argument, which continued even after they exited the vehicle. In a fit of frustration, Judy hurled her soda at Michael, provoking a terrifying response. Michael retreated to his vehicle, retrieved a red gasoline container, and returned to Judy, dousing her with gasoline. As Judy attempted to distance herself from him, she stumbled on the grass, struggling to comprehend the unfolding chaos. In a matter of moments, Michael leaned down and ignited her with a lighter. The horrifying scene, captured on camera, depicted Judy fighting for her life as flames consumed her. Despite her desperate cries for assistance, Michael stood by, coldly observing her agony. Only a true monster could exhibit such indifference. He finally grabbed a fire extinguisher, only after noticing bystanders rushing to help, injuring himself in the process. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office received numerous distress calls from the gas station, all detailing the harrowing incident. Both Judy and Michael were rushed to the Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center for urgent care, and Judy's family was swiftly informed. At that moment, they were utterly unaware of the events that had unfolded. All they could do was speculate that an accident had taken place. When Bonnie, Judy's mother, stepped into her daughter's sanctuary, she was met with a sight that no one could ever be prepared for. A staggering 95% of Judy's body bore the marks of third- and fourth-degree burns, her skin transformed into a grotesque canvas, unrecognizable and ravaged by the ferocity of the flames. The horror was so profound that Judy's sister, Danielle, was overwhelmed and succumbed to nausea. The anguished mother turned to the medical staff, desperately searching for a flicker of hope, but none was to be found. With the severity of her injuries and her tender age, Judy was not expected to survive beyond a few hours. The doctors grimly assessed her situation, declaring a chilling 110% mortality rate, a stark truth that typically meant patients lingered for only a few days. As Judy fought valiantly for her life, detectives were resolute in their quest to uncover the truth behind the tragedy. At that point, they had pieced together a coherent narrative of the events leading up to the incident. They had access to the 911 call recordings made by witnesses and had secured surveillance footage from the 2 ATMs situated across the street from the gas station. However, the motive remained elusive, known only to one individual, the orchestrator of this horrific act, now confined to a hospital bed alongside his victim. Detective Chad Cohagen, leading the investigation for the Gahanna Police Department, entered Michael's room to conduct an interrogation. Before Michael could utter a denial, Detective Cohagen revealed that they possessed ample evidence against him. From the outset, the detective sensed that Michael's account was riddled with inconsistencies. It was illogical for someone to be so consumed by rage as to douse another in gasoline, only to display an unsettling calm moments later while offering to light a cigarette. Nevertheless, they were determined to corroborate his story. Judy was momentarily roused from her sedation to engage with the detectives, a decision fraught with risk, yet deemed essential. The detective team harbored grave concerns that Judy might succumb without revealing critical information, potentially granting Michael an unwarranted advantage in legal proceedings. An additional layer of uncertainty loomed. Would Judy possess the ability to hear and respond to voices in her fragile state? It was nothing short of miraculous that she not only clung to life but also demonstrated responsiveness, despite the severe trauma she had endured. Upon receiving news of Michael's arrest, Bonnie found herself grappling with disbelief. She pondered whether Judy had been in a disoriented state during her conversation with the detectives. The idea that someone could intentionally inflict such harm upon another, particularly someone who professed love, was utterly unfathomable to her. Thus, she resolved to scrutinize the surveillance footage herself. As the months unfolded, Judy remained ensconced in a coma for a staggering 8 months. She was placed on life support multiple times, each instance showcasing her remarkable tenacity to survive. Her journey became a relentless contest between life and death, a struggle that defied all odds. Meanwhile, Michael Slager awaited his uncertain fate in jail, counting the days with bated breath. Should Judy succumb, the prosecutors would have grounds to pursue murder charges against him. Then, after 8 long months, the detectives received an astonishing call. Judy Malinowski had awakened after enduring 59 surgeries and months of rigorous treatment. Her transformation was profound. She had lost all her hair, both ears, and several fingers. Some of her wounds remained open, unable to be treated due to her frail condition. Lying on her stomach, her severely burned skin was adorned with ointments and dressings. Despite the excruciating pain that accompanied every breath, she persevered, a testament to her indomitable spirit. Medical experts labeled it a miracle, and with that miracle, Judy was fervently seeking justice. After enduring months of confinement, Michael Slager faced charges of aggravated arson and felonious assault. He persistently denied any intention to harm Judy, prompting the prosecution to prepare for a jury trial. Despite her immense suffering, Judy was resolute in her desire to testify against him, eager to share her narrative. However, his defense attorney, Bob Crapence, cautioned Michael that Judy's testimony could spell disaster for him. Although the prosecution's bluff hinged on uncertainty regarding Judy's health and her ability to testify, Michael succumbed to the pressure. He opted for a no-contest plea, thereby sidestepping a trial and preventing Judy from taking the stand. The defense deemed it essential to exclude her testimony from any potential future murder trial. By pleading no contest, Michael evaded a direct admission of guilt, yet he also refrained from proclaiming his innocence. Judy found no solace in this resolution. It felt as though Michael had once again stifled her voice. Judge Julie Lynch empathized with her plight, but was bound by the limitations of Ohio's legal framework, which allowed for no harsher sentence. The most disheartening element was Michael's refusal to accept responsibility for his actions, showing no remorse for the devastation he had wrought upon Judy's life. The prosecution's victory was far from complete, as prosecutor Warren Edwards recognized the need for a more stringent punishment. Yet, amidst this turmoil stood Judy, a survivor who not only triumphed against overwhelming odds, but also prepared to champion the cause of countless other women who had faced similar trials. With her extraordinary resolve, she had transformed the seemingly unattainable into reality. Now she was committed to instigating legal reform, ready to exert every effort to realize that ambition. Surrounded by her loving family, Judy exhibited extraordinary bravery during a grueling 2-year struggle. She not only fought for her own life, but also sought to address the deficiencies within the justice system. Her relentless efforts bore fruit as early as the dawn of 2017, when the Ohio legislature began to finalize the first draft of House Bill 63, affectionately known as Judy's Law. This proposed legislation aimed to increase the maximum penalty for the intentional disfigurement of an individual to a staggering 20 years. Regrettably, this law would not alter the course of her own case. Nevertheless, Judy remained resolute in her mission to impact the lives of others positively. From her hospital bed, she delivered a poignant message via videotape, passionately advocating for the law's enactment. As her video played before the lawmakers at the Ohio State House, her courageous 13-year-old daughter, Kay, eloquently represented her mother's voice. Following a unanimous 30-0 vote in the House, Judy's Law advanced to the Senate. While this was a significant milestone, prosecutors faced a daunting challenge. Judy's health was deteriorating, and should she pass away, Michael could potentially be charged with murder. The concern loomed that only Michael's testimony would be available, depriving the court of Judy's perspective. In a pivotal moment, they approached Judy about the possibility of testifying in her own potential homicide case, to which she readily agreed. Aware that her remarkable strength might not be enough to overcome her injuries, she recognized the gravity of the situation. It was an unprecedented endeavor. No one had ever testified in their own homicide case in the United States. Yet, history was on the brink of transformation. With the support of Franklin County District Attorney Ron O'Brien, Judy Malinowski successfully secured a motion allowing her to provide a video deposition, which would be admissible as evidence in Michael's forthcoming murder trial. However, another formidable challenge awaited her. To move forward, Judy needed to be gradually weaned off her pain medications to be considered legally competent. Her past struggles with substance abuse added layers of complexity to the situation, yet Judy was resolute in her determination to persevere. She faced weeks of excruciating discomfort as she meticulously reduced her high dosages of pain relief. Though her suffering was intense, her commitment to overcoming it was even more formidable. Michael Slager sought the judge's approval to be present during Judy's deposition, a request that the prosecution viewed as an intimidation tactic. leading the judge to deny it. Only the nurses were allowed in the hospital room during this critical testimony, excluding even Judy's mother. The deposition began with Magistrate Elizabeth Waters administering the oath to Judy Malinowski. Prosecutor Warren Edwards initiated the questioning by asking for Judy's full name and age, then skillfully guided her back to the day of the attack, encouraging her to recount the harrowing events of that day. Judy detailed their stop at a gas station to buy cigarettes, after which Mr. Edwards probed deeper into the specific occurrences that unfolded between them. She vividly described the horrifying moment when Michael committed the irreversible act of igniting her. Edwards aimed to refute Michael's assertion that the incident was merely the result of lighting a cigarette, directly questioning Judy to clarify whether such an event had indeed occurred. In a familiar tactic employed by defense attorneys, Krepence sought to cast doubt on the reliability of Judy's statements. After a brief discussion about Judy's relationship with Michael, he delved into her history of substance abuse, suggesting that the trauma she endured, coupled with her past struggles, might impair her memory of the details. Despite the increasingly severe tone of the interrogation, Judy stood resolute in her account. As the cross-examination progressed, Krepence resorted to a dubious tactic, insinuating that Judy exhibited aggressive behavior while under the influence of substances. This strategy sought to suggest that Judy may have provoked Michael, casting doubt on the intentionality of the crime. The dialogue returned to Judy's recollections, particularly her struggle to remember specific details from that fateful day. Krepence capitalized on this, proposing that her memory had been compromised. Yet the most exasperating inquiry was still to come. At the conclusion of the video deposition, Krepence pressed Judy on why she did not flee during those fleeting 30 seconds when escape was still an option. As the testimony extended over 3 arduous hours, a duration that could easily overwhelm anyone in her condition, Judy remained steadfast, unwavering in her resolve. She felt a sense of relief when the deposition finally concluded, not from fear but from the fulfillment of sharing her narrative. Unfortunately, this experience took a toll on her health. Her mother, Bonnie, noted that it had set Judy back medically. The limits of human resilience can only stretch so far. While Judy's spirit remained unyielding, her physical state was gradually deteriorating. After nearly 2 years of relentless struggle between life and death, Judy made the heart-wrenching choice to enter hospice care, expressing her desire to find peace in rest. Exhausted from the pain of fighting, she was transferred to a medical facility in June 2017, where treatment ceased. On June 27, 2017, her 696-day battle came to a close. At the tender age of 33, Judy Malinowski passed away with her mother by her side, ultimately succumbing to her injuries. She was laid to rest at the Law Enforcement Memorial Gardens in Columbus, Ohio. Following Judy's death, Michael Slager, who was still serving time for the assault, faced new charges of first-degree murder. Aware of the dire predicament he faced, Michael steadfastly maintained his innocence, resolutely opting to plead not guilty. To Judy's family, this was merely an age-old tactic employed by Michael to evade accountability for his actions. Meanwhile, the state was unequivocal in its pursuit of the death penalty. The defense sought to exclude Judy's deposition from the proceedings, contending that its inclusion infringed upon Michael's right to confront his accuser. However, Judge Guy Reese ruled otherwise, deeming the deposition admissible. Michael's defense attorney recognized the grim reality. Should the case advance to trial, the jury was likely to impose a capital sentence. The odds were decidedly against Michael. Initially, the defense team aimed for a plea deal that would permit him to enter a no-contest plea, thereby avoiding an admission of guilt. Yet the prosecution dismissed this offer, insisting that any negotiation would only be considered if Michael accepted responsibility for his atrocious crime. When prosecutor Ron O'Brien approached Judy's family for their consent, they readily acquiesced, provided that Michael acknowledged his wrongdoing. As they awaited trial, Ohio Governor John Kasich enacted Judy's Law, with Judy's family present at the signing ceremony. In a poignant moment, Kasich allowed Judy's daughters, 13-year-old Kaylin and 10-year-old Madison, to add their marks to his signature. The enactment of this legislation held profound significance for them, symbolizing that their mother's suffering was not in vain. Ultimately, Michael chose to plead guilty to first-degree murder, finally confronting the reality of his actions. On July 5, 2018, he accepted the plea agreement and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole in the Ohio Department of Corrections. During the sentencing hearing, a segment of Judy's testimony was played, wherein she articulated her wish for him to receive a life sentence. In a striking display of compassion, Judy extended a grace to Michael that he was unable to reciprocate. Although Michael made a fleeting attempt to apologize to Judy's family following the sentencing, the authenticity of his remorse lingered in doubt. In tribute to Judy's legacy, her family founded Judy's Foundation, dedicated to assisting victims and their families affected by domestic violence, substance abuse, and human trafficking. The foundation is fervently working to promote the elevation of Judy's Law to a federal status, striving to amplify its influence and raise awareness on a grander scale. This is the poignant tale of 4-year-old Jessica Gutierrez, hailing from Lexington, South Carolina, who was tragically taken from her slumber in the early hours while her family lay peacefully asleep. The haunting question that lingered was, where was the young girl's body? Who was the enigmatic figure known as the man with the magic hat? On the fateful evening of June 5, 1986, Jessica shared a bedroom with her two sisters in their family's mobile home. An unknown assailant or assailants infiltrated their home sometime between 11:30 p.m. and 9 a.m. the following day. It appeared that the intruder had gained entry through the living room window, tampering with the screens and curtains. The abductor then stealthily lifted Jessica from her bed and exited through the front door. It was on the morning of June 6th that her mother stumbled upon the chilling scene and realized her daughter was missing. Jessica's 6-year-old sister, Rebecca, recounted that Jessica had been taken by the man with the magic hat and beard. Tragically, Jessica was never seen again. Now an adult, Rebecca recalls witnessing a man gently lift Jessica from her bed, doing so without rousing her. Overwhelmed by fear, she remained silent until the grim discovery of Jessica's absence the next morning. Just days prior to this heart-wrenching event, their mother, Deborah, had ended her tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend, citing his alcohol issues and possessive nature. Could this ex-boyfriend be the man with the magic hat and beard? Was Jessica's abduction a sinister act of revenge, jealousy, or possessiveness? Such questions surged forth as the police delved into Deborah's account. Initially, Deborah pointed the finger at her ex-boyfriend, alleging he had taken Jessica, yet he maintained his innocence, claiming ignorance of her whereabouts. Despite being interrogated multiple times, he was never charged. Jessica's father was swiftly cleared as a suspect, as he resided in California at the time of her abduction. For many years, investigators faced challenges in identifying a suspect, leading the case to remain unsolved for several decades. Despite extensive efforts, both Jessica and her assailant eluded discovery. The case underwent reviews in 2008 and 2015, during which Lexington County Sheriff Jay Kuhn indicated that investigators approached the matter with renewed vigor. The FBI's child abduction rapid deployment team contributed by analyzing reports and interviewing over 125 individuals. Additionally, a poignant video featuring Jessica's mother, Deborah, was shared when the investigation was reopened. Thanks to the diligent work of law enforcement and media attention, along with a fingerprint discovered on Jessica's bedroom window, authorities were able to identify a primary suspect in her abduction. This individual, Thomas Eric McDowell, was a family acquaintance who was 27 years old in 1986 and had a prior conviction for rape in North Carolina. His fingerprint was the sole one found on the window, despite Deborah's routine cleaning. Notably, in 1987, McDowell allegedly confessed to a cellmate about kidnapping a girl in Lexington County and disposing of her body in a landfill, mentioning he wore a tall cowboy hat during the incident. After this information reached law enforcement, McDowell was approached by police, but he only expressed willingness to confess if granted immunity, which was ultimately denied, leading him to remain silent on the matter. In January 2022, McDowell faced charges of murder, kidnapping, and first-degree burglary related to Jessica's case, although authorities have not disclosed extensive details regarding the evidence against him. It was noted that McDowell resided in Lexington County at the time of Jessica's disappearance, and Deborah continued to suspect her former boyfriend's involvement in the case. The former lover of Deborah and McDowell vehemently denied any acquaintance, yet Deborah insists they crossed paths at a social event months prior to Jessica's mysterious disappearance. Despite Jessica's body never being recovered, suspicions of foul play linger due to the peculiar circumstances surrounding her vanishing. McDowell is currently detained without bail at the Wake County Detention Center in Raleigh, awaiting extradition to South Carolina. The presence of legal representation for McDowell remains uncertain. The lingering question persists: where is Jessica's body? Could Deborah's ex-lover be entangled in this enigma? Is McDowell truly the perpetrator, or is he a pawn in a sinister game orchestrated by the mystery man with the enchanted hat? Was the fingerprint truly his own, or was it surreptitiously placed on the window by an unknown hand?